Om Sai Ram. Chapter 10. Remember Sai Baba always with love, for he was engrossed in doing good to all and always abided in his self. To remember him only is to solve the riddle of life and death. This is the best and easiest of sadhanas as it involves no expenditure. A little exertion here brings great rewards. So, as long as our senses are sound, we should, minute by minute, practice this sadhana. All other gods are illusory. Guru is the only God. If we believe in Sadguru's holy feet, he can change our fortune for the better. If we serve him nicely, we get rid of our samsar. We need not study any philosophy like the Nyaya and the Mimamsa. If we make him our helpsman, we can easily cross over the sea of all our pains and sorrows. As we trust the helmsman in crossing rivers and seas, so we have to trust our Sadguru in getting over the ocean of worldly existence. The Sadguru looks to the intense feeling and devotion of his devotees, endows them with knowledge and eternal bliss. In the last chapter, Baba's mendicancy and devotees' experiences and other subjects are dealt with. Let the readers now hear where and how Baba lived, how he slept, and how he taught, etc. Baba's wonderful bedstead. Let us first see where and how Baba slept. Mr. Nana Sahib Dangle brought for Sai Baba a wooden plank, about 4 cubits in length and only a span in breadth, for sleeping upon. Instead of keeping the plank on the floor and then just sleeping on it, Baba tied it like a swing to the rafters of the masjid with old shreds or rags and commenced to sleep upon it. The rags were so thin and worn out that it was a problem how they could bear or support even weight of the plank itself, let alone the weight of Baba. But somehow or other, it was Baba's sheer leela that the worn out rags did sustain the plank with the weight of Baba on it. On the 4 corners of this plank, Baba lighted panatis, that is, earthen lamps, one at each corner, and kept them burning the whole night. It was a sight for the gods to see Baba sitting or sleeping on this plank. It was a wonder to all how Baba got up and down the plank. Out of curiosity, many careful observers kept watching the process of mounting and dismounting, but none succeeded. As crowds began to swell so to detect this wonderful feat, Baba one day broke the plank into pieces and threw it away. Baba had all the 8 siddhis, that is the powers, at his command. He never practiced nor craved for them. They came to him naturally as a result of his perfection. Sagun manifestation of Brahman. Though Sai Baba looked like a man 3 cubits and a half in length, still he dwelt in the hearts of all. Inwardly he was unattached and indifferent, but outwardly he longed for public welfare. Inwardly most disinterested, he looked outwardly full of desires for the sake of his devotees. Inwardly an abode of peace, he looked outwardly restless. Inwardly he had the state of Brahman, outwardly he acted like a devil. Inwardly he loved Advaita, that is unison or monism. Outwardly he got entangled with the world. Sometimes he looked on all with affection, and all times he threw stones at them. Sometimes he scolded them, while at times he embraced them and was calm, composed, tolerant, and well balanced. He always abided and was engrossed in the self and was well disposed towards his bhaktas. He always sat on one asan and never travelled. His band was a small stick which he always carried in his hand. He was calm, being thought free. He never cared for wealth and fame and lived on begging. Such a life he led. He always uttered Allah Malik, God the real owner. Entire and unbroken was his love for the bhaktas. He was the mine or storehouse for self knowledge and full of divine bliss. Such was the divine form of Sai Baba, boundless, endless, and undifferentiated. One principle which envelops the whole universe, that is from a stone pillar to Brahma, incarnated in Sai Baba. The really meritorious and fortunate people got this treasure trove in their hands, while those people who, not knowing the real worth of Sai Baba, took or take those people who, not knowing the real wealth of Sai Baba, took or take him to be a man, a mere human being, were and are indeed miserable. His stay in Shirdi and probable birth date. None knew or knows the parents and exact birth date of Sai Baba, but it can be approximately determined by her stay in Shirdi. Baba first came to Shirdi when he was a young lad of 16 and stayed there for 3 years. Then all of a sudden, he disappeared for some time. After some time, he reappeared in the Nizam state near Aurangabad and again came to Shirdi with the marriage party of Chand Patil when he was 20 years old. Since then, he stayed in Shirdi continuously for a period of 60 years, after which Baba took his Mahasamadhi in the year 1918. From this, we can say that the year of Baba's birth is approximately 1838 AD. Baba's mission and advice. Saint Ramadas flourished in the 17th century and fulfilled to a great extent his mission of protecting cows and Brahmins against the Yavanas, that is, the Mohammedans. But within 2 centuries after him, the split between the two communities, that is, the Hindus and Mohammedans, widened again, and Sai Baba came to bridge the gulf. His constant advice to all was to this effect: Rama, the god of the Hindus, and Rahim, the god of the Mohammedans, were one and the same. There was not the slightest difference between them. Then why should their devotees and quarrel among themselves? You ignorant folk, children, join hands and bring both the communities together. Act sanely, and thus you will gain your object of national unity. It is not good to dispute and argue, so don't argue. Don't emulate others. Always consider your interest and welfare. The Lord will protect you. Yoga, sacrifice, penance, and knowledge are the means to attain God. If you do not succeed in this by any means, vain is your birth. If anyone does any evil unto you, to do not retaliate. If you can do anything, do some good unto other. This is, in short, was Sai Baba's advice to all, and this will stand in good stead both in material and spiritual matters. Sai Baba as Sadguru. There are gurus and gurus. There are many so called gurus who go about from house to house with cymbals and veena in their hands and make a show of their spirituality. They blow mantras into the ears of their disciples and extract money from them. They profess to teach piety and religion to their disciples, but are themselves impious and irreligious. Sai Baba never thought of making the least show of his worth. Body consciousness he had none, but he had great love for the disciples. There are two kinds of gurus: one, niyat, appointed or fixed, and two, aniyat, appointed or unappointed or ungeneral. The latter, by their advice, develop the good qualities in us, purify our hearts, and set us on the path of salvation. But contact with the former dispels our quality, that is, the sense of difference, and establishes in unity by making us realize, thou art that. There are various gurus imparting to us various kinds of worldly knowledge, but he who fixes us in our nature and carries us beyond the ocean of worldly existence is the Sadguru. Sai Baba was such a Sadguru. His greatness is undescribable. If anybody went to take his darshana, he, without being asked, would give every detail of his past, present, and future life. He saw divinity in all beings, friends and foes were alike to him. Disinterested and equal balanced, he obliged the evildoers. He was the same in prosperity and adversity, no doubt ever touched him. Though he possessed the human body, he was not in the least attached to his body or house. Though he looked embodied, he was really disembodied, that is, free in this every life. Blessed are the people of Shirdi who worship Sai as a god. While eating, drinking, working in their backyards and fields, and doing various household works, they always remembered Sai and sang his glory. They knew no other god except Sai. What to speak of the love, the sweetness of the love of the women of Shirdi. They were quite ignorant, but their pure love inspired them to compose poems or songs in their simple rural language. Letters or learning they had none, still one can discern real poetry in their simple songs. It is not intelligence but love that inspires real poetry as such. Real poetry is a manifestation of true love, and this can be seen and appreciated by intelligent listeners. Collection of these folk songs is desirable, and Baba willing, some fortunate devotee may undertake the task of collecting and publishing these folk songs either in the Sai Leela magazine, or separately in a book form. Baba's humility. Lord our Bhagavan is said to have six qualities, namely fame, second wealth, third non attachment, fourth knowledge, five grandeur, and six generosity. Baba had all these in him. He incarnated in flesh for the sake of the bhaktas. Wonderful was his grace and kindness. He drew the devotees to him, or how else one could have known him. For the sake of his bhaktas, Baba spoke such words as the goodness of for speech dare not utter. Here is a specimen. Baba spoke very humbly as follows: Slave of slaves, I am your debtor. I am satisfied at your darshan. It is a great favor that I saw your feet. I am an insect in your excreta. I consider myself blessed thereby. What humility is this? If anybody would think that by publishing this, any disrespect is shown to Sai, we beg his pardon, and to atone for this, we sing and repeat Baba's name. Om Sai Ram. Though Baba seemed outwardly to enjoy sense objects, he had not the least flavor in them, nor even the consciousness of enjoying them. Though he ate, he had no taste, and though he saw, he never felt any interest in what he saw. Regarding passion, he was as perfect a celibate as Hanuman. He was not attached to anything. He was pure consciousness, the resting place of desire, anger, and other feelings. In short, he was disinterested, free, and perfect. A striking instance may be cited in illustration of this statement. Nanavali. There was in Shirdi a very quaint and queer fellow by name Nanavali. He looked to Baba's work and affairs. He once approached Baba, who was seated on his gadi, that is seat, and asked him to get up as he wanted to occupy the same. Baba at once got up and left the seat which he occupied. After sitting there a while, Nanavali got up and asked Baba to take his seat. Then Baba sat on the seat and Nanavali fell at his feet and then went away. Baba did not show the slightest displeasure in being dictated to and ousted. This Nanavali loved Baba so much that he breathed his last on the 13th day of Baba's taking Mahasamadhi, the easiest part. Hearing the stories of the saints and being in their company, though Sai Baba acted outwardly like an ordinary man, his actions showed extraordinary intelligence and skill. Whatever he did was done for the good of his devotees. He never prescribed any asan, regulation of breathing, or any rites to his bhaktas, nor did he blow any mantra into their ears. He told them to leave off all cleverness and always remember Sai, Sai. If you did that, he said, all your shackles would be removed and you would be free. Sitting between five fires, sacrifices, chantings, eightfold yoga are possible for the Brahmins only. They are of no use to the other classes. The function of the mind is to think. It cannot remain for a minute without thinking. If you give it a sense object, it will think about it. If you give it to a guru, it will think about guru. You have heard most attentively the greatness, grandeur of Sai. This is the natural remembrance, worship, and kirtan of Sai. Hearing the stories of the saints is not so difficult as the other sadhanas mentioned above. They, that is, the stories, remove all fear of the samsara, that is, the worldly existence, and take you on to the spiritual path. So listen to these stories, meditate on them, and assimilate them. If this is done, not only the Brahmins but women and lower classes will get pure and holy. You may do or attend to your worldly duties, but give your mind to Sai and his stories, and then he is sure to bless you. This is the easiest path, but why do not all take to it? The reason is that without God's grace, we do not get the desire to listen to the stories of saints. With God's grace, everything is smooth and easy. Hearing the stories of the saints is, in a way, keeping their company. The importance of the company of saints is very great. It removes our body consciousness and egoism, destroys completely the chain of our birth and death, cuts asunder all the knots of the heart, and takes us to God, who is pure consciousness. It certainly increases our non attachment to sense objects and makes us quiet in. We conclude this chapter with meditation on Sai's form. He, the beautiful and handsome Sai, standing on the edge of the masjid and distributing udi to each and every bhakta with a view to his welfare. He who thinks the world as naught and who is ever engrossed in supreme bliss before him, we humbly prostrate ourselves. Bow to Shri Sai, peace be to all. Om Sai Ram.